Moving on. So this is more about how you interacted with the learners. I'd like to know a little bit more about how you checked in with your learners. How did you have that interaction with them, teacher to student? Was it more or less than usual? Heejin, maybe we'll start with you.
Sure, yeah. In my case, the way I checked in with my students, I created virtual office hours.
Okay.
So instead of, office hours meeting students in my office, right? So virtual office hours through Zoom again. Um, and also, I started my regular class meeting earlier, like 15 minutes early. Then I sometimes have students join me early and ask me questions. And I also invited students to stay after class if they have questions. So
Did you, sorry, did you find that students really took advantage of this?
um, I did always had one or two students stay after class and ask questions, clarify things.
Were they always the same one or two?
Yes. Yes. Not always the same, but typically those students tend to ask questions. And sure enough, they needed a support, needed more help. Some cases, they just like to chat with me about their motivation issues.
Yeah, I can imagine that that was a big concern this year for a lot of them, especially in the university stream.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so this question really reminds me of the check-in time. More check-in time is necessary in this online remote teaching times, how to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Let's hear from you, Anita.
At the beginning, I only checked in with them 2-3 days a week on Google Meet. And then I started checking in every day. I found it was really nice to be able to see them, talk to them, give them an opportunity for questions, give me an opportunity for explaining new material, going over answers. So it became a regular thing. Every day, an hour. Now we do an hour and a half, Monday to Friday. And we work together just like we work together in a classroom. We would have our chat, conversation, get into the new material, warm up questions, take up answers from the day before, and they're able to ask questions immediately, and yeah, and they really liked being stuck at home. They really liked seeing other people as well. So now it's such a natural thing that the hour and a half just goes by so quickly. It's really
I
nice.
think that's so important to kind of incorporate that small chat in this online classroom because a lot of them, especially at the height of quarantine, weren't allowed to leave their house. Like, especially if they were staying with homestay families, they were really discouraged from having any social interaction. So I found I had to do the same. The first 5 minutes, even before our warm-up questions, was just, oh, how's the weather today? Just kind of engaging in a sense of normalcy, even though it wasn't really there.
Yeah. And letting them know we're all in the same boat. I mean, they're
Yeah,
stressed, they're depressed, and we just talked about it. It's a little outlet for them every day, a little bit.
absolutely. Lindsay?
At the beginning, we were given an hour and a half a day for outside of the lecture. And I didn't often have students take advantage of it. Some of the students wanted to learn more slang and things like that. So I'd create worksheets and we'd watch like Netflix together. And that would make little groups within the class. That was fun. The adults were more keen to use that time than the young adults. And the young adults, I've more or less just switched to WhatsApp with them.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, so they just message me when they want. I see it that way. I don't have to go to the computer. And if they need help or something, I'm right there. And then it's a whole classroom group as well in it. So,
Oh, that's great that you've managed to use a tool, especially with teenagers that they obviously gravitate towards faster than emailing you if they had a question.
right. And most of them hate turning their cameras on anyway. So it might as well be WhatsApp.
um, Okay, yeah, that's great to hear the range of kind of check-in points. What I found was at the beginning of this online transition, I set up a survey monkey for my students because I found that a lot of them weren't really eager to kind of tell me what was going on or how they felt. So I had this anonymous survey of what they liked about the lessons, what they didn't like. And I encouraged them to be brutally honest, and they were, but it really helped shape the course. And I felt that going forward, it kind of made them more open to kind of sharing their ideas with me when we had our one-to-one little breakout meetings. Especially, we have a lot of pathway students that were really worried about their conditional offers to colleges. So I felt like I had to speak to them about motivation similarly to how you did. You did.
Yeah. Celine, I also circulated surveys, anonymous surveys, in the beginning of the course, in my summer course, and then in the midway, and then later, 3 times. That was really helpful for me to understand students' circumstances, because some questions I asked, do you need any accommodations? You know, do you need a specific circumstance that that I kind of need to know to support your learning? And students did mention something that, like, you know, they some students live with roommates. Sometimes it's difficult to have camera on during the class. Yeah. So yeah, that survey was really helpful.
That's great. All right. So what types of learners shown in your online classes?
Independent learners.
Why do you say that?
They tend to do well.
Yeah.
You know, without having to come to class, I don't find homeworks done quite as often, but those students will always do it. They tend to be leaders when I put them in the groups. And I think that, you know, they're having more control in the classroom is something they like. So I think they tend to stand out.
Were these students, do you find, independent before the online experience, or do you think that they developed a sense of independence having to move online?
No, I would think it was people who had always taken control of their own learning.
Okay. And they really got to take control this time.
Exactly. And I think the opposite maybe struggles a bit more.
That's interesting to know. Anita, what do you find?
I agree with Lindsay. Yes, independent learners and also self-motivating people. A lot of time would be, I don't know if I can place them in an age range. They're all different age ranges. It's just some of them just seem to be more motivated and interested, and I think appreciate and value the service that we're giving them right now, being stuck at home. And I think there's certain people who realize how beneficial this is to them and how lucky they are to have these courses for them available. And those of them are really motivated and really want to learn.
Especially
Absolutely.
people who wouldn't have afforded it before.
Sorry?
Especially people who wouldn't have had the time or the money to do it before. Like,
yeah.
It's cheaper online.
That's true. Yeah. And more flexible, you know.
Yeah. I think it's an
It's interesting that you mentioned the age thing, because I found that the teenagers I had in my class, they really excelled, of course, because they were more technologically inclined than I was. So they were really quick on picking up on things and kind of helping me out. But I also found that the older adults that I had in my class, kind of more the middle-aged crowd, they worked extra hard so that they could keep up. And I felt that they really kind of took inspiration from their younger peers, whereas in the traditional classroom, sometimes they'd be a bit more dismissive of them. Keegan, anything to add?
My case, those students excelled in my courses, in my summer course. I would say those who practice good time management skills, submitting assignments on time, and plan their tasks in order of importance. And what else? Those students who really show strong purpose of, learning, why they are here, their academic goal, then they achieved what they really wanted to achieve.
Interesting. So it's really interesting to me, maybe to you as well, that it's the independent learners and kind of the self-starters that really rose to the occasion in this classroom. Talking to the TESL Ontario team, we're thinking about doing another video soon about how to engage different types of learners, maybe the more kinesthetic ones, or the intrapersonal ones that need that socialization. So it's interesting to note that we all think the same. All right, final question. How will you take what you learned in planning, interaction patterns, etc., and move forward? I teach at a school that's already back in physical form. It's actually it's a split. We have some students in person and some are still tuning in online, which presents their own challenges in that. But moving forward, as schools, I guess, are going to go back, how will you take what you learned?
I won't, because
for the most why not, Lindsay?
I'll be going back to no tech.
Okay.
So a lot of the things that have been useful on here, I mean, some activities and stuff I'll be able to adapt to the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I think things will just more or less go back to what they were like before, with maybe now, hopefully students will have the option to have these online classes either before they come to be more confident or after to keep it up. So
that's great.
Able to do both classes, both in class and online, but I don't think I'll take many of the things from online into the classroom. Maybe
do you think that, sorry to interrupt, do you think that your institution will kind of shift their no tech policy?
I don't think so. I think it was a good idea and it was working well for the most part. I mean, there are exceptions when tech is needed. The pathway classes were always allowed to use computers and things like that, like to help learn how to research. But I think it has a time and a place, and I think they were doing really well with it. I still see the same things online that I saw in class when we did have tech. You know, I'll see like hands go down and eyes, like they're still playing on their phones, you know, even though they're on computers. But I think those things, the one thing I might try to take into class is maybe not being so involved with each of the groups and letting them work more independently and make their own mistakes before I go and like start chatting with them. Great. So I might try to do like a breakout room thing in class.
And just stay physically away from them.
Unfortunately, I can't bring the mute button though.
I know, right? Heejin?
I certainly want to continue with what I feel successful so far. But in the future, I would like to kind of have a combination, kind of have a blended, the real blended course with the combination of a synchronous and asynchronous and in-person class. And for the asynchronous component, I may record important instructions. And so I make several short videos for important assignment instructions, and when I also explain important conceptual knowledge around course readings, students can watch those videos anytime and multiple times. So my students, right, many of them use English as a second or additional language, born, not in Canada, somewhere else. So based on my observation, also feedback from my former students, they really appreciated recorded lectures. So they can go back and listen to these recorded lectures. So I will kind of continue create recorded lectures, but also I really miss in-person interactions. Like one thing I mentioned about role play activity, I think that would work best in class format, in like a face-to-face class format. But other things like online discussion, I would say I've been successful facilitating student learning in that forum. So I will continue. I'd like to continue to do that.
Great. I like that you have voice recorded instructions and content. I remember some of my professors when I was in university would just upload slides, but if you missed the lecture, you didn't really understand what was going on. So it's great that you've added that component.
Mm-hmm. I found that nowadays it's really key.
Yeah.
In particular, for my student population and context. Yeah.
Great. Anita?
Yes. I'm going to continue doing what I am doing. I actually really love it for this reason, because teaching online, because we had to adapt, has opened up a whole new world of resources for me to use, because I couldn't use the standard ones in the classroom. And I find they really work. I find the students are motivated by the material that I present to them from real life sources. It's authentic material. They are, I can connect them with real life tasks, because with PBLA, we've got our real life task assessments, and I can much easily give a real life task assessment with the resources that I'm using right now. Yeah, so one example was trying to find beaches that were open in June and campgrounds that were open in June, because that wasn't available. So I had them do research online and come back and report, and they were accessing information from all kinds of places. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. It's
Wonderful.
easy. We have the laptop projector in the classroom. Not a problem bringing it in and having it as part of the lesson, right? And then, you know, having how I'm going to move forward with this is going to be better, because I will be able to put the students in groups, and after watching whatever we're watching or doing research, get into discussions about it. So that'll be much better, much easier than now. We do get into discussions, but they can be in little groups and then share ideas. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, I think. I love it. And the students seem quite motivated and interested in it. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. And especially for LINC, where their goal is to integrate into the community. They're here to stay. It's not like the private sector where it's a lot of study tourism, or even the university stream where they have specific academic goals. So it's wonderful. I'd like to thank our great participants for their wonderful contributions to today's topic. But now it's your turn. We'd love to hear about your online teaching experience in 2020, so leave us a comment down below with your thoughts. Also, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up so we know that we should make more like these. Thank you so much, and have a great day.